Hello everyone, bringing you a video today after a chat with fellow collector and reenactor Renzo van Gool, who is based in the Netherlands and collects not only Netherlands Cold War era kit, but also British kit, and as a British reenactor alongside reenacting Cold War era Dutch forces. And we chatted a bit about Dutch kit, his reenacting kit, what he gets up to, and this is basically in the wake of the unboxing video that I did recently, where obviously I've showed him a few photos of bits and pieces that's arrived. He was interested to have a chat, and so we thought we'd record it, and here it is. I hope it's of interest to some people. It's uploaded in addition to the sort of regular upload schedule, but I thought it would be a good follow-up to the unboxing video, so we'll get into the chat now. So this is Renzo van Gool, is that the right pronunciation?
Van Gool.
Van Gool.
Van Gool sounds more British. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and talking about, obviously, I've recently received, I'm not sure if I'll have made the unboxing video or whether I've uploaded the unboxing video yet or not. Received some more Dutch kit from a friend of mine, Kevin, who sent me some more bits and pieces over. And obviously we started chatting about it because obviously you are Dutch and you reenact and collect Dutch kit from right the way through the Cold War, I guess, as well as doing British reenacting.
Yes, so, I portray the 1st Allied Light Regiment at Arnhem in 1944, the Royal Artillery Regiment, and that since April this year, April 2020, so just COVID stuff, but it all went all right. And I started collecting Dutch military 7 years ago when I was actually 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't start quite that early, so I'm impressed. So that's,
well, I was like on events and I was wearing the Dutch uniform and stuff, but it was all incorrect. It's like it's been a year or two since I have had a correct uniform.
Yes, I get you. So because it's quite interesting, particularly the early Dutch uniform and equipment, early immediate post Second World War. The fact that so much of it is obviously borrowed from or copied from British kit, which is sort of interested me in it, is that, and also that it was in use for so long that the web equipment, the belt and the braces and everything stayed the same right the way through the Cold War, which is certainly I found it interesting. Thank you very much. I've just brought a cup of tea.
Nice. In the Dutch, like the pistol belt, I don't know if I will take y'all with me.
Yeah, let's go for a wander.
Let's see if I can change my camera angle. Can I? I don't know. Did it check? Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's it. Yeah. Now we're
this mannequin of a Dutch Marine. I right now have all my Dutch Navy stuff on display. So also things that my grandpa brought back from the Dutch East Indies and Korea. So that's cool. So this is the pistol belt that was used by the Marines until around 1990, I guess.
And that's more of a US type.
But this is also a kind of a British holster.
Yes, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
the Browning holster. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't really. It's a reproduction weapon, by the way. It's from the Carnival shop. You see, 1965 dated. This one. And yeah. The Dutch Marines also used these, the Gators. These are British jungle Gators from 1945. But actually, in the Gator itself, there are Dutch markings of linker, which means left, and right, rechter. So that's something really cool.
Yeah, so the British, the part of the late war jungle kit that's been obviously reissued by the Dutch. That's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over here we have the overseas cap that the Dutch use, with the same cap badge as they would use in World War II, with Nederland on it. This would be used by the Prinses Irene Brigade and the number 4 Commando. Jesus, that was really Dutch. And here we have the almost every single country used the same type of navy jacket.
Yes.
Yeah. We have the Dutch market for it.
It's quite interesting because Britain, basically the uniform Britain introduced in the 1850s, 1859. There, every country copied it to some degree at least, or adapted it. So as you say, everyone ended up wearing basically the same type of naval uniform. Even the Germans with their little sort of jacket that they had. That's based on earlier British. We stopped using it, but it was based on an earlier Victorian British uniform, which is quite interesting. But it's interesting to see all this stuff, as you say, from that. It's and what. So this is that naval uniform. When is that from? When is that?
It is dated 1988, but the Dutch used it already from, I guess, around 1920, 30.
Yeah.
The
design
period. So the interwar period. But it all was the same. Like for about, they still use it though, but they now have field jackets.
Yes.
So it's still used on ceremonies. The Navy never stopped wearing those.
Yeah, the dress uniform. Yeah.
So
something I was very keen to ask was the Dutch combat uniform, which I understand is introduced in the 1950s. How does it change? Because I believe there's these early 80s, there's a change to the combat uniform. It's something I don't know a great deal about. This was something I wanted to ask you. Cheers, thank you. Yeah, interested to see.
This is the Dutch battle dress. This one, you have to do this from Regiment aan Nafvoertroepen, which is just the transport troops. This one, and after that they used what we call vissendraad, which is the same material as HBT.
Yes.
They had flat. I don't have it lying around. I do have it lying around here, but it's under a whole lot of stuff, so I'm gonna get that out. And it was with flat pockets.
Yes. Similar to the American shirts in the 50s, I think. Very similar sort of design.
It was the same as the HBT, but they weren't. The HBT had iron buttons, and the Dutch uniform had plastic wooden buttons.
Yeah.
Like not wooden, but plastic. Yeah.
Plastic.
Yeah. And so that's the only difference between it. After that, they had a uniform between the uniform with the flags. Get that out too, I guess. Yeah. I'm gonna show you.
Go for another wander.
Jumper. Wait. This is the jumper. So same model as the Woolly Pulley. You guys know it, of course. This has some. This is metal and name stripe where you can put your name. And over here we have the earliest model after the latest model after Woodland came in. This with the flat pockets with these type of buttons.
Oh yeah, pressed.
This one is from 1978, Dutch flag. This is for jeep drivers, good conduct, and Regiment aan Nafvoertroepen, first class. So private first class. That's the latest uniform after the Woodland came in. This is the Woodland Camouflage. This.
What we would know as DPM. Yeah, they're very similar to the British camouflage.
Indeed. Do you want to know anything about helmets?
Yes, please. That would be interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
I will. Why is my camera not working? All right. I'm gonna get the helmets out that Dutch use. I also use it for my British impression. And then we have the M53, the later version. and this one. All right, these are the helmets used by the Dutch Army. At first, they of course reintroduced the Brody helmet, as always.
Yes.
This is still the British pattern, but they used everything they could get.
Yes.
It was just such a mess between the war. Some people even think they used German weapons. I highly doubt that, because why would a country which was occupied by the Germans for 5 years use German weapons again? I do know the Navy did use the German munition for naval guns.
Yes.
I actually heard that from a Navy, someone who was in the Navy in 1977, if I'm correct, and they still use German munition.
Wow.
So yeah.
Just kept them in stock and use them bit by bit. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the M53 helmet, exactly the same as the American helmet. Only the thing, there is no cork on there, so it's just olive dry.
Yeah.
And this is the Marine example, because there's scrim between the netting. So
right.
And this is the liner. I think everyone on your channel knows how the British helmet looks like.
Yes. Yeah. Very probably. Yes. Okay. I would hope so. Anyway.
Yeah, indeed. This is the liner, the brown liner. This one was used a lot, as you can see. Yes. I really like it. Bought it for, I think, €5 from a dealer. He was like, yeah, I don't care. It's Dutch. You can have it. So I'm glad with that. This is the typical national service helmet. Normally you would wear the netting and the inner band above the sandbag. So you would have this, and you have the plastic liner.
Yeah, so the later plastic liner rather than the sort of resin impregnated cloth liner. Yeah, just updating the design a bit, but basically the same in the way it works.
Yeah, but the difference is these are leather straps and these are iron.
Yeah, you got the metal clips. Yeah,
clips indeed. That's the word. And in the Netherlands, you would get these for €5 a piece.
Yes.
10 euros a piece. They are everything Dutch is so super cheap, except for marine uniforms and marine gear and like that. But like this, you would get it for 10 to €5. This one would cost a little bit more because it's earlier and has a really much paint job. That would be around 30 to €40. And the Kevlar this is the most modern helmet that we still use to this day. This one is a woodland camouflage. There you can see it. This is a really nice helmet. I got to admit.
Pretty. And when did the transition from the steel to the Kevlar? When did the change? When did the change come?
93.
93.
That changed from Kevlar. They did use, the Marines used these at first, and then the Army got them, the standard army. But these helmets were still used in 1996 for training and national servicemen who were just completing their service, because I think the national service was until 1995, 96, and these were still issued a lot. But yeah, that's the Kevlar with the woodland cover. So yeah, those are the helmets.
Nice little timeline there. Thank you for that. Yeah. That's interesting.
It's not much, but it is.
It's interesting though, as you say, the change from obviously the British style to US style, and then I suppose the Kevlar style is quite similar to the US Kevlar helmet, the Pasgat helmet. It's quite a similar design to that. Yeah. So yeah.
Anything more you want to know?
A little bit more about the uniform on the Marine mannequin, the actual jacket and trousers on the mannequin there.
I can do that. Cool. My camera would change again. Yeah, there we go. Well, at first we have the standard Marine Beret. This one would be a guard duty during the 1980s in Holland on a field exercise. This is how a Marine would be there. Standard beret, gold anchor, marked Koninklijke Marine, means Royal Navy, and the maker 58, 1971.
Yeah.
But I have
the Royal Marines who aren't Royal Marines who aren't commando trained or haven't passed the commando course yet wear a beret very similar to that with the red patch behind the badge and everything. So,
right. Yeah. Didn't know that.
Very, very similar. Yeah.
Now it's on. See. There we go. This is the standard Dutch Army jacket. The Dutch Army got it, Navy, military police, and Air Force got these too. So everyone used these. We call them NATO jackets because other countries use them too.
Right. Interesting.
There's 2 pockets, 4 pockets, but these flaps are sideways, as you can see. But these are the nicest jackets in the Dutch Army. Let's say it like that. These are really good. I have a woolen liner in them, actually. Can't get it off right now, but as you can see, I have a woolen liner in here. It's
yes, I see that clipped in, yeah.
So it's really warm in the winter time, but still you can wear a greatcoat over it or something. I have a pistol cord, of course, but the Marines would just take a pistol belt, put a holster and a carbine pouch on there, or even fall pouches. This is for the FN fall, these pouches, as you can see.
Oh yes, yeah. I know the Dutch Marines pattern of pouches, yeah.
And the holster for the FN, indeed, as you call. And they would just switch it out for like they would put their gear out and get a pistol belt from the guard that was on duty then.
I
don't know if you've ever seen Band Brothers, probably you did, but you can see also in the last scene in Germany they switched pistol belts too for guard duty.
Yes.
Ruling the traffic. I don't know if you've seen that scene or remember.
I do know what you mean. Yes, and the guy who's on duty, has a pistol. Yeah, and whoever's on duty just has the pistol belt. Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's exactly how they did it back then. Also, so yeah, that's a reference, so you can
get the idea of what's going on. Yeah,
indeed. These are just the earlier pattern. Like these were also used. Let's see. Yeah, these were used in Dutch East Indies. This pattern. So these are pretty rare because you would also find them with pockets right here, over here on the hip, lower
down,
and over here you would find them on the front of the upper leg. So these are these pouches are really big, so you can put everything in them. You always see them filled up really bad. Like if you watch pictures from New Guinea or the Dutch East Indies, you will always see them so full. Like they will put bandages in them, extra cloth, pieces of equipment. Everything will be used. Also ammo, because the pistol belt will be really harsh on your body, on your upper body, because most of them didn't wear a jacket in the Dutch East Indies.
No, of course, yeah.
Only in combat situations, but yeah.
So when does this jacket date from? When was it introduced? When did the jacket first come into use?
Marine jacket, the bigger jacket with the sideways.
Yes, with the sideways pockets. Yeah, the one on the mannequin. When did this first come into use?
Introduced in the 1950s. They were also used with the battle dress, so with the MVO uniform. MVO is Ministerie van Oorlog, Ministry of Defense. Ministry of War, sorry. These were first introduced in like, I guess, 55, 56, yeah, around that time period. So they would appear So like 1960s, begin 1960s, end of the 50s. They would appear back then. And so yeah, these do have a really big history. You also see a lot of people still wearing these on the streets nowadays. They just buy them at army surplus stores for €7.50, and everyone wears them because they're pretty comfy, actually.
Yes.
So yeah, and the jacket underneath it, I don't know if I can get it out. I can show you the logo, I guess, because on the it is the exactly same model as the Marine, U.S. Marine Corps.
It's the shirt. I've seen a photograph of this wearing it on, or similar, wearing it on your Instagram page. Yeah, does it have the stamp on the pocket?
Yeah, indeed, exactly the one. Maybe you can add a picture in the editing or
Possibly
something.
so. Yes, I can add a photo in probably, but yes, showing the exactly where the U.S. Marine Corps and Eagle, Globe and Anchor would be on the pocket.
Yeah,
is the logo, the badge of the Dutch Marine Corps. So yeah, there we go.
Stamped on it, this logo.
I'll copy a photograph in here if possible. I'll try and edit this and put a photograph in to show that.
And then they would just use British Gators, as mentioned earlier. And these are ammo boots. I gotta get some boots without the big nose, but they would just use every single piece of shoe they would get. In the Dutch East Indies, they would use rough out boots, the US ones, or boondockers. And after that, they would use ammo boots. Also, just navy boots, the standard you would wear on deck. Everything was used in that time period.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I was going to say, if you can't really picky when it comes to that sort of thing straight after. Well, I suppose it depends on what you can find and what you can purchase on the market and so forth in terms of what's from other militaries. After the Second World War, there was so much available for sale in terms of surplus kit and equipment from other militaries, as you were saying, US boots, boots, whatever's, you could get. It wouldn't be sensible not to, because obviously this stuff was available relatively cheap. So you'd buy it in large. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I have a MVO, which is the battle dress. I have a Canadian-made Dutch battle dress.
Right, so interesting.
I don't know if I can get it out right now. I'm gonna check it out. I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. Fantastic collection, I have to say.
No, I'll find it right now. I will show you a picture later on.
Yes, that's great.
A separate video about the MVO webbing sets that you wanted to do too, so I can put it on my mannequin and just it'll be all right.
That's brilliant. Thank you. No, the advice on that would be very much appreciated, as I say, because it's new to me. Obviously, I know how to assemble it to a degree because I'm familiar with British webbing, but where bits should be is something I'd like to know a bit more about. So very interesting, Canadian made, but bad. Is it a wartime battle dress then? That's been.
It is made from Canadian wartime wool. I don't know if it was made in Canada or in the Netherlands. I think in Canada, because the Netherlands didn't have any factories left, of course.
No, indeed.
Yeah, I think it was patched up in the Netherlands, of course, again, and so it probably is a Canadian-made one.
Interesting. I'd be very interested to see photographs. I'll cut them into the video here to have a look at. If you can send them over, it would be good to show that, because it's anything like that. I've found it particularly interesting looking at the end of the Second World War, how armies were re-equipped and rebuilt, as you say, with the kit that was available at the time. It's basically, I think pretty much everyone in Europe ends up wearing a version of the American helmet, for example. The M1 is basically almost standard across Europe, apart from Britain. Being assaulted by a respirator. 1 minute. There we go.
You can always send it up to me.
Yeah.
But
it's good. And so obviously do you reenact other events in the Netherlands where you can represent troops during the Cold War, or are there any post-war events in Holland, in the Netherlands? Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm really used to it, so I
did correct myself. I do apologise for that.
Yeah. Well, there are actually, because there were a lot of Dutch national servicemen.
Of course, yeah.
Every guy from 80 years or older had to go into national service. And so there are a lot of events where people can relive their Cold War experience. So with the vehicles, with the people walking there, my group, which I left like a couple of months ago, I was there. They were at a UN Lebanon event. So
yes, yeah.
The UN troops, the veterans of the UN, got there, and they made a whole checkpoint with all the UN barrels and all the cool stuff, blue helmet, everything. I had that kit too for a while, but I sold it because I wanted to start a British airline light regiment impression. So yeah, there are actually a lot of events based on the Cold War, because everyone knows it. Everyone knows the uniform. Everyone knows the aesthetic around it. Everyone knows the 80s vibe, the vehicles. They drove in those vehicles. They got in to exercise those vehicles.
Yes.
Because you had a national service period, but there was in the 1950s a lot of men in those times sadly died, of course, because they are older. And over here, the national service was scratched away in 1992, but after that there will still be some men who got into national service. But this was until 1992, so a lot of younger people, like around the 30s, did still experience the national service. So yeah, that's why. And I especially like it because my dad was in it in 1988. And that's when I got interested in, like, hey, Dad, what's that? What's this? What's right? Which regiment were you in? So I searched for his old friends out of national service, and I asked him things about my dad. How was he in national service? What did he do? And after that, my dad actually hated the national service.
Right.
And
yes, it wasn't for everyone in whichever country you were in. It wasn't for everyone, I'm afraid to say. Yeah, certainly. I think there are as many horror stories as there are people who enjoyed it. I think balance.
Fair. Yeah. But my dad wanted to forget everything because he was like, oh, no, I didn't want to know it. But he told me a lot of things. He told me with excitement. He drove with me to events, and he was like, yeah, I kind of miss it, the vehicle. He really did miss the vehicles. He was a truck driver in the Dutch.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, the big truck. It was really cool for him. So he was pretty happy that he was going to events with me. Sorry.
Yes.
Language.
Well, it's going to say that if you're bonding over that sort of thing, then that gives a different. I suppose it becomes happy memories at that point, doesn't it? Because you're not maybe thinking about what you did back in the day and the bits you didn't enjoy. You're remembering the stuff you're doing now, and it is interesting. Obviously, national service in the UK ended in the early 60s, so really our generation of national servicemen now are obviously quite old, but it's always interesting talking to them because you do get a real mix of, I found it really good, I really enjoyed it, and others, I didn't want to go in, but then I enjoyed it when I got there, and others who, I didn't really, there is always a mix of people, a mix of opinions, shall we say, as to how it was. When did national service start in the Netherlands Army? When did it start?
1945.
Right, straight away. Right.
They said, guys, come on, you're going to your national service, go to the Dutch East Indies. We're gonna defeat them. We're gonna take our country back, and so that's how it went. They like
Gotcha.
like maybe on the 20th of May, they said, yeah, we're gonna go into the national service. Well, we're
Right.
liberated on the 5th of May. So yeah, they right away said, come on,
Yeah.
because yeah, there really was a job to
It
do.
lasted right the Cold War.
Yeah,
Interesting. So I didn't. I knew it. I knew it lasted a long time. I knew it lasted into the early 90s, but I didn't realize it had been through the whole. I didn't realize it started straight after the war. That's interesting. Um, yeah, and it makes sense with the kit remaining well, a lot of the, as you say, the old helmets and things like this. It was the same with the British Army to a degree, as well as through the
yeah,
national service period. A lot of older, say, cheaper kit and equipment was found
yeah,
to, equip national servicemen. But when you go back to it being a volunteer army, suddenly the uniform gets a bit smarter and everything
yeah,
advances a bit, because the army's smaller for a start, so it can be can afford to get, I guess, nicer uniform and kit. But you also need to attract people to join the army. So like,
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting how that often plays together.
Indeed,
Um,
but actually, the Dutch National Service already started in May 1938, May,
uh,
around
yeah,
April. But of course, with the Second World War coming,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
yeah, there couldn't be any, and it was resumed after the war. So
yes.
yeah, we were
So
like, well,
it, it already existed, but obviously, as you say, during the war, it might as well not have done. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, it's been really interesting looking through the kit. I have to say, I've got a little bit of it from. I've obviously just got the battle dress, which you've seen on the mannequin.
yeah,
So I will be very interested to see a bit more about obviously putting the equipment together, well, in the right combination and so forth. Because I suppose it's not something I initially thought about collecting, but
no,
because it is the development of that British kit, it's interesting to see another country take and doing their own thing with it, I guess, and taking bits of American kit and mushing it all together.
British, yeah,
Yeah, as
exactly.
you saying, taking bits and pieces from all over the place and using it. It's interesting.
Yeah, of course. It was only around until 1950 that they used bits from all over the world, but
Mm,
like in the 1960s, they really would have their own stuff, except for
yes, of course. Yeah.
here, etc. They still use the big British ammo pouches.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have them on a British display over here, so I don't know if you want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look. I'd be interested.
All right. We let me check my camera again. All right. Yeah, there we
Ah,
go.
there we go.
This is
Yeah.
my British. I don't know. Is the light all right?
Yes, I can see. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
This is my reproduction smock from King and Country. I don't know if you know
Hmm.
the company. They made a
Yes.
smock for it.
Mine. I think mine's a Ranger Camp, but King and Country are very good. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's an
yeah.
excellent.
They called it. So
My Beret's kit, my airborne, my wartime repro Beret is King and Country, as I
oh
remember. So, yeah,
yeah.
they're good company, or were a good
I,
company.
I portrayed the First Air and Light Regiment, Royal Artillery. So at the old church in Oosterbeek, they were stationed.
Hmm.
I'm in Arnhem. So yeah, that's why. Two brand pouches. Sorry, incorrect.
No,
The
fine. It does. Yeah,
oh, yeah. Um,
basic pouches.
basic pouches. Yeah, that's what they call.
Technically, yes, that's the technical term.
Let's see if I can turn it around. There we
There
go.
we go. Yeah.
Uh, you see a lot of people on pictures wear their scarves. These like scarves. They were actually carried over the pack, over the.
There is a good
Oh,
photograph of that with it tied over the haversack on the back. Quite
yeah.
correct. Well,
it-
technically, as I remember, the official designation is a camouflage face veil, and you do
yes.
occasionally see them worn over the head as well, because you can look through them, of course, when you've got them over your face.
Yeah.
But
Indeed.
as you say, there is a very good photograph of a chap wearing it tied round the neck as you have it,
Yeah.
to camouflage the equipment, which is yeah.
Yeah. Pretty smart to
Hmm.
do. We have the gas mask pack over here. The bayonets.
Yes.
Easel. Canteen with cover and just a smock, battle dress worn underneath, collarless shirt worn underneath, string vest worn underneath. So yeah, we really like historically accuracy. I, as myself, wear a civilian shirt as undershirt.
Yeah.
Because you see troops wearing them in films, actually. So
you mean you're not just wearing a t-shirt underneath your smock? I have to take away your airborne reenacting card then.
Indeed, yeah. I
Number of
always wear my
people who
battle dress.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I rather wear my battle dress than wear my smock with a t-shirt underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. If you get to, well, it's interesting is that happened, and people forget that is if it got too hot, men would take the denisons off, and they did. So you
Yeah,
would see airborne
exactly.
fighting in
Yeah,
battle dress blouse. It's not unheard of. You don't have to wear your denison all the time, but
no,
people.
it's not something you wear you wear your beret all the time. You would wear your helmet all the time, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't see them often, like we do at a cannon. You gotta get your helmet on. You're at a cannon.
Yeah, but the thing is, the beret is far cheaper and easier, of course. So from a reenacting
Yeah,
point of view,
yeah.
uh,
This is my beret. I think it's British post-war, actually. So that's
well,
exactly what you want. Or you want a 4,000 euros beret,
yes, there
as
we
you can
go.
see.
Yeah,
I think this is British post-war national service period. And just the Royal Artillery with slider.
yep.
And then the helmet with
Glass on the side, yes.
whoops.
Bit of a
You
ding.
see it? Yeah, yes, shit happens. Let's call it like that. There we go, the Royal Artillery decal.
Yep.
And just a liner. It's actually, alright, guess where it's from.
You're gonna have to tell me. I can't guess.
It's soft reproduction.
A
So, it,
fortune. That's come
yeah,
up very well then. Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
the ding in the top, the that definitely helps. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, and
How did I have to ask? How did that happen, or was it done intentionally?
it was done intentionally. I gotta be
Okay.
fair. But it just looks, yeah. I always go when I go for impression. I always go for the hobo look. So the most
Yeah.
worn out guy in the whole platoon, in the whole section, the whole gun. So yeah, I always go out wearing my smock wrong or just my something like it really has to look like you're in a battle for 5 days because
Yes.
you're under constant fire. You don't wear your beret in a firefight.
This
Well,
is this is
yeah,
something I'm guilty of. I'm often far too clean and neat, I think, in a lot of the
yeah,
photos and things. But
you're in a
that's
war
a
zone.
lot of the kit I have is original, so obviously um, I'm not in the business of making it look like it's been in the field for 5 days or how weeks or
Yeah,
however long,
yeah,
because it is original. But I think that's one thing that repros are very useful for, if you want to
yeah.
make yourself look like you've been in the field for a while.
Well, actually,
Yeah,
all my kit is original, so like the webbing is original, my
good
battle dress
stuff.
is original, um, and my small pack berry is post-war original, cap emblem is original. Um, let's see, we have my anklets over here.
Ah, yes.
So anklets they call it, right?
Anklets, that's correct. Yeah, technically, yes.
Okay.
That is the
And this
the official name for them.
this
Oh
was
yes, excellent. So
oh Corona.
no, no.
Oh,
Don't worry, it's fine. No, we're fine. We're fine. None of that here.
all right.
Uh,
There we
excellent
go.
stuff. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think that's focused. Excellent.
We followed this with a pack howitzer.
I
So
was
yeah,
going to say we're lucky in that I think we are two people who've both had experience with pack howitzers. So that's
yeah, yeah,
definitely yeah. It's a good thing. It's a very it's an excellent experience to have. I think.
yeah. Definitely. We're gonna train real soon.
Excellent.
Yeah. We're going to do the gun drill, and that type of things. You really gotta. It's something to understand if you portray artillery, how to move it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not like you just wear those shoulder sizes because you want to reenact it. No, you gotta know how the men lived back then, how they trained back then, how they fought back then. I would never want to know how they feel back then.
No, I agree with. But definitely knowing the gun drills and so forth is very important, because if you're going to be educating people, and I will admit I'm a bit rusty on this, I haven't done it for a long time. It's been several years now. But having at least a basic knowledge of how the gun operates and goes together is necessary, because you're not just there to stand around it. You should be there really talking to people and teaching them a bit about it. Hopefully,
you want to wear the uniform. Yeah, because you want to wear the uniform. I was at Arnhem, Oosterbeek this year, and that's why you don't want to go there because you have your uniform. You want to teach people something.
Yes.
You want to, that's the whole reason why I reenact. I want to teach it. I want to remember. So that's why.
I think that's unfortunately. Well, the thing with reenacting is, I suppose, it's a hobby. People can do it for whatever reason they'll. But I would prefer to think people, and I would always do it from a point of view of trying to research it myself and then pass the information on. It's definitely that sort of that's the motivation, I would say, behind it. Yeah.
It's exactly the same for me. I'm getting my right now.
I'd say it's nice to see the post-war, the Cold War Dutch stuff, because I think that certainly in the UK there's a massive focus on the Second World War, and I think that the Cold War, that period, is sort of forgotten or not as interesting to people, which is understandable. I get why that's the case. I don't know what happened there, but never mind. Lost the call.
Phone died.
Yes, these things happen.
Yeah, I'm searching for a better spot that I can sit
with it charging at the same time.
Yeah, but I can't find anything, so I will have to hold my phone.
That's okay. Oh well. So I'm assuming that similar to us, that the reenacting kind of scene over there has been kind of cancelled this year, or have you had any events? Yeah, basically, yeah. That has been very frustrating, but hopefully next year will be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My group actually did have. We went to Arnhem this year, so I'm really glad with that. We just set up the group, like it's been on for a year or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're part of the King's Road Scottish Borderers group, but now we are independent and pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty happy how it's turned out. So this was my first World War II reenactment, actually. I always portrayed national service, but right now, it was pretty nice to be in Oosterbeek, as you can see by my sweater. Didn't buy it then.
Excellent. No, fingers crossed there'll be more of that next year then. It's just, I don't know. I've missed it. I have to say a lot this year. I missed the whole scene. So fingers crossed we'll be back to normal. It's been good having the YouTube channel, because at least it's given me something, kind of an outlet side of things. But it's not been ideal not having everything going on. But what can you do? But yeah, I'll have to. We keep saying there's a group of us who probably seen crop up in videos where we've done events and things. We visited Oosterbeek and Arnhem quite a few years ago now, and we keep saying we should go back, but not during the anniversary. We can have a proper look around, because when you go, it's mobbed. Everyone's there, but we want to go and do a proper look at the lie of the land and work out exactly. We did a little bit of that when we were over last time, but have a proper look at the different, the actual key points, if you will, and take a map and work out, well, this is here, this is here. They moved back through that sort of thing, a proper study of the battlefield, as it were. So that's something planned for the future.
We all portray, your crew in the airborne?
We do various things really. We've artillery, obviously. When I went to what was I doing on the visit? Parachute, one of the parachute squadrons, Royal Engineers. When I was there, we do all sorts really. Parachute regiment on occasion. We've done quite a bit of stuff with the Airborne Assault Museum, of course, at Duxford, which is not just Second World War, but right the way through. But primarily, that's obviously the parachute regiment, though it does include other airborne forces as well. But we do all sorts of bits and pieces. So obviously, it's not just airborne troops. It's kind of British Army in general, really, and even the Navy and the Air Force to a degree as well. So yeah, it's very varied, and we kind of based it on what's needed at the time, because we often put things together for a museum or an event will ask for something specific, and we'll put that together. The gunnery was done. The pack howitzers is with a group called Summer of 44. Several members who own them. So we've had, I think at War and Peace they had 4 firing together, which was pretty. That I wasn't there that year. There were 3 the year I was there, I think. So yeah, it's different, and with different working with different groups as well. So the group I'm with we're called MECO, Military Equipment Collectors, and then obviously we've done stuff with Summer of 44. We've done stuff with other groups as well, as is needed. You know, obviously teaming up and working together, you can often put on a better display. So yeah, all over the place, though, different things.
Indeed.
Which is why
we actually always, when we are on location, we always try to get the location as exactly as possible.
Yes.
F troop, the 3rd Battery F troop, actually was in near the old church, the field, right to the old church, and we a couple of years ago in 2017, we actually stood there with 3 pack howitzers.
Fantastic.
And it was, I wasn't there sadly.
No, but the group did.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
It was brilliant. Yeah,
I may have seen the photographs from that, actually, come to think of it at the time. I think some photographs were circulated of it, so I may have seen the photos of that. But no, excellent stuff. Excellent. Well, it's been really good chatting to you, Renzo. I think I'm going to have to head off, I'm afraid, because I've got a few bits and pieces to do before I finish for the evening. So really good to you. We'll have to chat again at some point, and maybe even meet up. If we're doing a trip over to the Netherlands in the future, our paths may cross. We will see. But thank you very much for chatting about all of that, and obviously not only the Dutch kit, but your British reenacting kit as well. It's been really interesting to have a look at. So thank you very much for that.
Nice. You too, man.
And I'll say good night for now.
Yes, good night. Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye for now.